Imagine holding a marshmallow. On Earth it's so light it barely registers in your hand. A soft, fluffy treat that seems to defy gravity itself. You could toss it in the air, catch it, or squish it between your fingers without a second thought. But on a neutron star, that same marshmallow would weigh as much as 3 billion elephants. The sheer force pressing down on it would be unimaginable, turning something delicate into an object of immense crushing weight. Now picture Earth suddenly orbiting one of these city-sized cosmic monsters. The planet, dwarfed by the neutron star's gravity, would be caught in a gravitational grip unlike anything we've ever experienced. The sky would transform into something alien, perhaps glowing with strange new colors or streaked with unfamiliar lights. But the real shock wouldn't be what you see above, it would be what you feel inside your own body. Standing up would be impossible. Your legs, no matter how strong, would buckle instantly under the overwhelming force. Every cell in your body would be crushed by gravity millions of times stronger than our sun's. Bones would shatter, organs would collapse, and even the air in your lungs would be squeezed out. Lifting your arm would feel like hoisting a car. Breathing? Nearly impossible, as your chest would be pressed flat by the relentless weight. Gravity would become a relentless oppressor, not a gentle guide. Every movement, every breath, would be a struggle against an invisible, crushing force. Our biology, evolved for Earth's gentle gravity, would be instantly overwhelmed. Muscles, nerves, and blood vessels would all fail under the strain. The air would feel denser, compressed by the neutron star's pull. Breathing would be like trying to inhale through a wall of syrupy fog. Even the ground beneath your feet would groan and shift, Earth's crust warping and cracking under the strain of this new monstrous gravity. The planet itself would bulge, stretching toward the neutron star like cosmic taffy, its shape distorted by the immense tidal forces. This isn't just a surface change, the entire planet from crust to core would be warped and twisted by these unimaginable forces reshaping the world as we know it. We'd be living on a world literally pulled apart at the seams, continents fracturing and oceans surging in chaos. The universe is full of extremes, but this would be a front-row seat to one of its most powerful and terrifying displays, a cosmic force that dwarfs anything we've ever known. Our comfortable world would be gone, replaced by constant crushing pressure. Life as we know it would be impossible. Gravity, once our friend and protector, would become our greatest enemy, a force so powerful it would erase everything familiar in a single crushing dawn. Gravity near a neutron star isn't just stronger, it's overwhelming, a force so intense it defies our everyday experience. Imagine the heaviest weight you've ever felt, then multiply it by millions. That's what it would be like to stand anywhere near a neutron star. If you weigh 150 pounds on Earth, you'd weigh hundreds of thousands of pounds here. Even the strongest structures and the most resilient bodies would be instantly crushed by this unimaginable pressure. You'd be pinned to the ground, unable to move a muscle, your skeleton fracturing under the weight. The very act of standing would be impossible. Your body would collapse in an instant. Every object, from pebbles to mountains, would be crushed by this force. Even the hardest rocks would crumble, and the tallest peaks would flatten like sandcastles under a tidal wave. Buildings would collapse, cars would be immovable, and the oceans would rise in colossal, permanent tidal bulges. The world as we know it would be unrecognizable, transformed by relentless gravity. Instead of gentle tides, we'd see mountains of water, flooding continents. The seas would surge and never recede, swallowing coastlines and cities alike. The planet's interior would heat up from tidal friction, causing global earthquakes and volcanic eruptions. The ground would tremble constantly, and volcanoes would erupt with terrifying frequency. Earth's shape would warp, losing its familiar continents to submerged chaos. The boundaries between land and sea would blur, and the world map would be erased. The planet would be stretched like a rubber ball, its very form dictated by the neutron star. Earth would become a plaything of cosmic forces reshaped and distorted beyond recognition. Catastrophic geological upheaval would be constant. Landslides, ruptures, and quakes would tear the surface apart, leaving nothing stable or safe. Our world would become a place of extremes, a nightmare sculpted by gravity. Storms would rage, the air thick with dust and ash, and the sky would be forever changed. The larger partner in the cosmic dance always leads, and here, Earth would be utterly dominated. The neutron star's pull would dictate every movement, every change. The familiar landscapes we know would vanish, replaced by a warped, tormented surface. Mountains, rivers, and cities would be erased, leaving only chaos behind. In the presence of a neutron star, Earth would lose all autonomy. becoming a mere shadow of its former self, utterly at the mercy of the universe's most powerful force. What is a neutron star? It's the collapsed core of a massive star left behind after a supernova. Imagine the sun's mass squeezed into a sphere just 12 miles across. A teaspoon of neutron star material would weigh 10 million tons. That's why its gravity is so extreme. Gravity depends on mass and distance. A neutron star packs immense mass into a tiny space. Its gravity can bend light and warp spacetime. Many neutron stars spin rapidly, hundreds of times per second, sweeping beams of deadly radiation across space. If Earth orbited a pulsar, we'd be next to a cosmic strobe light. Compared to our Sun, a neutron star is tiny but far more massive. It's a paradox, one of the smallest yet most massive objects in the universe. Placing Earth next to such an object is like parking a bicycle next to a black hole. The outcome for the smaller partner is never good. Imagine a world where our familiar 24-hour day would simply vanish, erased from existence in an instant. The immense gravity of the neutron star would force Earth into tidal lock, so that one side always faces the star while the other is forever turned away. One hemisphere would be trapped in endless, searing daylight, scorched by unrelenting rays with no relief. The other would be plunged into perpetual, frozen night, locked in darkness and bitter cold. The narrow boundary between these extremes, a thin twilight zone, would be battered by super hurricanes, as the atmosphere desperately tries to balance the wild temperature differences. There would be no sunrise, no sunset, just a fixed, unchanging line between blinding light and endless night, stretching across the planet. Life's natural rhythms, from sleep cycles to photosynthesis, would be shattered. Animals and plants would struggle to adapt, confused by the absence of day and night. The concept of a day would stretch beyond recognition, lasting as long as a year, or even longer, depending on our orbit around the neutron star. The day side would become a scorched wasteland, with temperatures soaring far beyond what most life could endure. The night side, meanwhile, would be frozen solid, locked in a deep, unending winter. Only the narrow twilight zone might offer a sliver of habitability, a thin band where temperatures are less extreme. But even here, life would face constant, violent storms and chaos. Most species would perish in these harsh new conditions. Only the hardiest, most adaptable organisms could cling to existence, eking out survival in the planet's most turbulent regions. Our planet's gentle, predictable dance would be replaced by a stark, motionless stare-down with a cosmic tyrant, forever altering the face of Earth. The loss of our day-night cycle would fundamentally change our world, disrupting every aspect of life and the environment. Life as we know it would be impossible, and Earth would become a planet of extremes, caught in the grip of endless day and endless night. Neutron stars aren't just gravitational monsters, they're radiation machines. Their magnetic fields are trillions of times stronger than Earth's, flinging deadly particles into space. Our atmosphere and magnetic field would be overwhelmed, stripped away by relentless radiation. The sky would vanish, replaced by the blackness of space and a terrifying global glow. X-rays and gamma rays would sterilize the surface, shattering DNA and making life impossible. The oceans would offer no refuge. Radiation would penetrate deep into the water. The very elements in our atmosphere could be transmuted into radioactive isotopes. Earth would become a glowing, barren wasteland. In the vicinity of a neutron star, space is a raging inferno of energy. Our planet would be trapped inside a cosmic radiation machine. Despite their hot cores, neutron stars are tiny and don't radiate much heat. At a safe distance, Earth would receive only a fraction of the warmth we get from the sun. Temperatures would plunge, triggering a global ice age. Oceans would freeze over, entombing the planet in a shell of ice. The atmosphere would collapse, with oxygen and nitrogen snowing down to the surface. The world would become a snowball, reflecting the faint light of the neutron star. Geological and atmospheric activity would halt. The water cycle would cease. Life dependent on liquid water would be wiped out. Even extremophiles would eventually succumb as the planet's internal heat dissipates. The sky would collapse, leaving Earth exposed to the vacuum of space. A frozen world is a dead world. The habitable zone is a delicate balance of light and warmth. Too little and you freeze. Earth's shape would be dramatically distorted by tidal forces. stretched into an ellipsoid. The difference between width and length could be thousands of miles. The ground would be on a permanent steep slope, gravity pulling sideways toward the neutron star. The planet's interior would be violently stirred, generating intense internal heating. Paradoxically, the surface would freeze while the inside cooks from gravitational friction. Massive volcanic activity would puncture the ice, creating a bizarre landscape. Buildings and infrastructure would be useless, unable to withstand the new forces. Our current gravitational equilibrium would be shattered. Earth would become geologically unstable, physically distorted, and utterly alien. The laws of physics would be turned up to 11. If any life survived, it would be nothing like what we know. Surface life would be impossible. Only deep underground or beneath miles of ice could anything persist. Life would rely on chemical energy, perhaps from volcanic vents. Organisms would need to withstand crushing pressure and constant radiation damage. Only the simplest, most resilient microbes might survive. The chemistry of life would have to adapt to darkness, cold, and gravitational strain. The psychological impact on any intelligent beings would be profound, living under a sky that's a source of death. The search for life in the universe is really a search for another gentle, stable star like our sun. This scenario shows why most stars are too violent for life. The kind and gentle ones are rare. Our sun is a cosmic exception. Placing Earth around a neutron star would turn our vibrant world into a frozen, irradiated wasteland. Gravity would warp the planet, trigger cataclysmic quakes, and create tides of unimaginable scale. Our day-night cycle would vanish, and the atmosphere would be stripped away. The oceans would freeze, the air would turn to snow, and the surface would be sterilized. Every aspect that makes Earth hospitable would be destroyed. This isn't just a destructive fantasy, it's a lesson in cosmic perspective. Our world is rare and fragile, balanced perfectly for life. We are the beneficiaries of extraordinary cosmic luck. By imagining the worst, we can better appreciate the best. Our blue marble is a precious jewel floating peacefully in the vast dark expanse.